Right, so let's implement the GameStateMachine class. So add new item, and we'll select a class, and we are going to name it GameStateMachine. Again, let's make it public so that we don't run into any visibility issues later on down our project. And this class will also be a generic, so let's go ahead and handle that. Next, we're going to keep track of three things in the GameStateMachine. We're going to keep track of the owner of the state machine, so we can call any functionality that we need during our states. And we're also going to keep track of two things. We're going to keep track of the previous state and the current state. So let's go ahead and create variables for those. And these are going to be game states of type T, the same as a state machine. Let's add some comments so we don't forget. And finally the current state, so this is going to be the state that is active at any point in time in the machine, or the current state that the machine is on. Okay, next we want to go ahead and create the constructor for this machine. And the game state machine is going to take a owner reference, so we can keep track of it. So let's go ahead, game state machine. It's always a little bit tricky for me, I tend to forget. So the owner, and this is going to be the owner reference that we passed to the machine when we created. Okay, we have a little bit of an issue here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we want to make sure that we close this class first, and go ahead. Oh no, that didn't do it. Okay, so we want to store it, so owner equals owner. Now since we're using the same name for both, we gotta make sure that we use this so that we know that we're referring to the class owner and not the constructor's owner. Okay, so we got a constructor. Next we're gonna do our change state. Now this is where the bulk of the process is gonna take place. During our change state, if we have any active states, we're gonna call the onExit on it. So we do any sort of cleanup that needs to be performed on the state. We're gonna save the active state as a previous state, and then we're gonna call the onEnter on the new state. Okay. First thing, let's go ahead and be a little bit of defensive programmers. So let's make sure that our new state is not null. And if it is, we're just going to escape and not do any operations. Now if we happens to have a current state, we are going to call the onExit on it. as the owner. Oh wait, this should be current state. Exiting the current state. Let's go ahead and fix it. Now let's save the currently active state as our previous state so that we can undo if we need to. And finally, we are going to call the onEnter of our new state. So let's go ahead and store it as our current state. Okay, don't forget to document so that whenever you look back at it, you know what is it that we did. So let's go ahead and call the onEnter so that we initialize anything that we need to initialize for that given state. Okay, and there you have it. We went ahead, we made sure that we're not getting past any null. If we are, we skip the place, we exit, and we move on to the new state. So yeah, make sure that you exit the current state, save it, and then initialize the new state and call the onEnter on it so that we perform any initialization that we need.